Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. If you've been here for a long time or if this is your first time, I'm glad you are here with us today. And I have a brand new episode featuring Sidecar. Matt and Phil have become great friends of mine, and I'm super excited for them and their brand new record. Dinner and a Box of Wine due out on April 1st, and they have a big old party on April 8th at Central Stage in St. Louis to celebrate the release of the album, and you're going to hear all about it on today's episode. I do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri, serving up all your craft beer needs. With over 25 rotating taps out there, they sure to got a beverage just right for you. And you can get some delicious food, all kinds of burgers and nachos and flatbread pizzas and salads and pretzels and all kinds of tasty eats. And they've been doing fish fries all through Lent. So come get your fish on out there. And they got some great live music every weekend. They start off on Thursday nights doing Singo Bingo. And Thursday, March 30th will be the best of 2020. And then on Friday, you got Steve Kyle out there Friday, March 31st. And April 1st, Matt Waltershed on Saturday night. So you can find their full concert calendar, beer menu, and food menu at friendshipbrewingcompany.com. Be sure to get plugged in with them on Facebook and Instagram for more info. And Brian just texted me the other day, the owner of Friendship Brewing Company, and the Flint Hill location's coming along very nicely. And so they should be getting pretty close to opening up that new location there, and they'll be opening another location in Hannibal, Missouri soon. So stay tuned for more info. Big thanks again to the Friendship Brewing Company for their continued support. Go out there and visit them and tell them Shane sent you. I want to tell you about a big old show I got coming up on May 14th. We'll be over at Old Rock House in St. Louis, Missouri for Debstock. This is the show I put on in my mother's memory to raise funding and awareness for brain cancer. I lost my mother in 2019 to glioblastoma brain cancer, and just trying to do my part to support others and give back and turn a negative into a positive. So this is my show. I do that in her memory, and this year we have entertainment from Russo and Company, Emily Wallace, Ryan Chaney, and comedian Meredith Hopping. And tickets are only $15 in advance, $20 day of show. Can be purchased at etix.com, or if you want to message me, I'll drop one in the mail for you. And again, all proceeds go right back to the communities and helping others battling brain cancer. So hope you come out and support the cause. It would be great to see you all. And Old Rock House is always a great time over there. So if you need more info, reach out, rockpaperpodcast.com/Debstock or oldrockhouse.com too. All right, that is it for me, everybody. If you need anything else, feel free to reach out, rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Sidecar.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Hey, I'm Phil.
And we're Sidecar.
And you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot, could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Sidecar. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Oh, yeah.
This is our first proper Sidecar episode, but you guys are old friends of the show for sure. And but I guess we should properly introduce you all for those that might not know. But who wants to go first?
I will. Matt Hitchcock. Played in Hitchcock and the Hitman. And that's about it. No, I'm a Sidecar.
And I'm Phil Russo. I've played in various groups. Sidecar, Hitchcock and the Hitman, soloist. Back in the day, played with Mr. Gaffney and the Highway Saints.
Yeah. And
just some one-offs, and then mostly jazz would probably be the other group that's still active these days.
Yeah.
But Sidecar's the main MO lately.
Oh, yeah. And we got a special guest with us today, making her podcast debut.
About to go down for a nap. Little Florence Evelyn Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't hear too much out of her.
But yeah, man. Congratulations. I'm very excited for you and your little family now, man. It's very exciting to see
Thank you.
the baby and getting to meet her today and hanging out here at the house and just having a fun afternoon, getting to hang out and talk about the brand new Sidecar album, which so I guess like as we're getting into this thing, and like I was listening to the record, and I mentioned we all go back a while, and this is a great example of some of my favorite stuff. Like we got to do it's been a couple years ago now, but we did a singer-songwriter showcase that I was hosting over at Naked Vine in Chesterfield, Missouri, and I invited you guys to come out and play together along with Samantha Clemens, and which one was just an incredible night, a whole lot of fun. But you guys played a lot of these songs that are appearing on the record, just kind of solo acoustic, and so that's the nice treat for me to kind of like see them in their early stages before they become the record version, so that was a lot of fun, a nice treat to sit and enjoy these songs. And now we have the final product, man. That's all ready to go. We got a big party coming up and everything else. So, but yeah, that was just, it's fun to look back at that and see where these songs started and where they're at now, man. So
Yeah, a lot of these songs we've been kind of carrying around with us for years. Yeah. We just never really dressed them up in the full band.
Yeah.
It was always something we were wanting to do, and it's just really kind of interesting to hear them once they're in they're fully outfitted, because they take on a whole new sound. And most of them kept the same structure.
Yeah.
We changed a little bit of
some things change, like names change, little subtleties, and then when you start adding like drums and bass, you kind of have to take some acoustic parts away, right? Because if you're doing it live and two guitars, sometimes I'd have a little foot tambourine going, but once you add other players in the mix, if you keep the same acoustic structure, it's like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, so you have to like almost not start fresh again, but you kind of have to pick the important acoustic parts or electric parts or whatever, because some of these songs now have electric guitar instead of two acoustics. It's just that one rhythm section, and then just changed up just a little bit, and we feature piano too, so it's a cool evolution even on our side too, I think. Yeah.
Well, I guess like let's go back a bit. Obviously, we've talked, some of you guys' early days and stuff. Another podcast with Hitchcock and the Hitman and stuff, and when we did a Phil Russo episode. And but where does that like whole thought come into? Where okay, we've both been doing projects. We've also sang together in various things. But when does the idea like, hey, we should probably start this sidecar project and put together an original record and then bring in some of the extra players we have too to fill out the band. So how does that all where does the idea split off from the Hitchcock and Hitman stuff to want to do this more of a sidecar record?
I'd say with Hitchcock and the Hitmen, like we started playing with Amy Armstrong too, and that was like my uncle kind of brought that into the group, and we, traveled Mexico into this whole thing of like the cabaret scene, which was crazy and wonderful. And then I guess it was that, it was like we were an acoustic bar band that played mostly covers, but we did play our originals in that kind of 3-guitar arrangement fashion. It was almost that like yearn for like relevancy almost in a weird way of like, okay, here's the project that's all original, because there's a whole demographic of people that only want that original music instead of a cover, band or whatever. I think that's really where it came from. And we were kind of deciding, okay, what's a name that would fit this like ragtimey, folky, jazzy, almost pop music, what would kind of like encounter that name. And I think, did you come up with Sidecar?
I don't remember, but I thought it stemmed from when you and Amy and it's Tom as well. Tom kind of was the other guy in Hitchcock and the Hitmen. Yeah. Everyone was kind of playing, other than me, at that side bar.
Oh, in the Chase.
At the Chase. And I almost felt like it was a derivative of that. It was just kind of sidecars, two people, for two people. And we were kind of the principal songwriters, Phil and I. So we kind of, for some reason, thought of it was kind of humorous to be riding around together in a sidecar. And so
I'm definitely in the little box. Matt's
all right.
Driving the car.
But that was pretty much it. We wanted to have an all original project.
Right. Because
there's definitely a need. We still do Hitchcock and the Hitmen, and we play with Tom Conway all the time. And he's a good friend of ours, and like Phil saying, is basically family. We play with him all the time. But that's primarily our acoustic cover group, and there's a lot of places that don't want to hear original music. They want to hear their favorite cover songs. Mm-hmm. So there's a place for that too, so we're happy to do that. But you're not going to get it's limiting in some regards. You got to have your original stuff too if you want to be able to do other projects, and that's kind of where we were motivated to do that.
Yeah, sure. that put us on the path of like, with kind of tipping to the release show. We brought in we asked these original artists around St. Louis that we love, like, hey, do you want to join us on this thing? That's kind of was our goal pre-COVID. We pumped the brakes on the album progress a little bit just because the world shut down. But it's here, and we're kind of ready to do that. And I think with this release show, just kind of putting a whole show of just originals and like a couple of our favorite kind of renditions of a cover, puts that relevancy on there and says, hey, we're down to do one of those 3-band shows that has all originals, and this is what we sound like. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, the record sounds amazing, man. I really like. It was fun to hear again. Like I said, I'm used to hearing some more acoustic arrangements on some of these things, and so hearing some more, mentioning adding some keys, some piano parts and stuff, and having full drums and bass and everything along with it. You brought in some key players to help round out the sound on the record. So let's talk about some of the supporting cast that makes up Sidecar also.
All right. Well, that kind of goes to tipping the cap to mostly jazz a little bit, which we talked about in other episodes, which basically in my years at School of Rock, I got to meet a lot of musicians, and that was a really awesome experience. And that's how I met Scotty Iman, who's primary drums in Sidecar. And then if you know of Scotty and all the projects they play with Scotty comes Simon Sherfitz, who is, bass extraordinaire. That dude's a monster and the nicest guy. So when we kind of got around to making this, we went to Sidecar. We're like, okay, this is the project that we're going to do. They were on board for sure. Then jokingly, you know, talking with Cree Ryder, he was like, hey, that's my rhythm section first, hands off. But, you know, everybody's really cool and, you know, just make it happen. And we play as a band when we can. And then the keys player that we brought in was Chase Garrett of Sweetie and the Toothaches, which was another friend I met through School of Rock. And, you know, we're all teachers and, you know, we're just kind of in the in-between times, we're always just kind of chatting or jamming or whatever. You're observing people practice. And that, I don't know if you've seen Chase play, that dude is a monster.
Yeah.
Like, he is crazy on the piano. He's up and down, back and forward, and just plays. The best thing about Chase in this project regards is that, you know, we have that kind of ragtime-esque influence. And Sweetie and the Toothaches being that jump blues is kind of in that same realm. So when we were like, you know, I play keys too, but light years away from Chase's abilities. So when we were like, okay, I'm going to focus on the guitar and vocals and harmony parts and harmonica, we need somebody to really rip on this record. So luckily he was able to do it, and he's definitely a member of the band. He's got his primary band with Sweetie and the Toothaches, but he's that Sidecar would be me, Matt, Simon, Scotty, and Chase.
Yeah, Chase's contribution was significant because when we were recording it, he was in another room by himself, so I couldn't hear his parts. I could hear what I was playing. But I couldn't hear his. And when we'd go into the listening room and you'd hear what he played, and I was just floored. I was like, this guy is insane. I mean, there's people that play the piano, and then there's Chase. I mean, This guy can play the piano. I just loved it. I totally loved what he brought to the album, and everybody really, because Scotty and Simon, they took it very seriously. You know, when we went in there and recorded, we did it all in one day, and they took their parts very seriously, and they wanted perfection. And you know, when you write a song and you see these guys putting that much effort into it, it was, you know, it's kind of touching, you know, in a way. I was really honored they wanted to be part of the project.
Yeah, and if you, especially if you know Simon, he's kind of quiet unless you really know him, and he is like super hilarious and says the most crazy shit. But like, he was super perfectionist about, I remember that one song, I can't remember which tune it was, but I remember him being like, no, I need to do that again. Like, he wanted to do it over to make that time to, you know, just hit it, you know, the right way. And a fun fact about Chase on the recording day is we recorded at Shock City Studios, and they have like this really nice like Steinway piano. But they also had just gotten this kind of like older, like upright spinet kind of thing that was like not all the way in tune, but not ridiculously out of tune. But when we were kind of deciding which one to go to, Chase and Sam, the producer, was like, you should probably hit this spinet. It's just that slightly out of tune. It has that almost like cowboy western saloon kind of sound to it, and it just fit perfectly, man.
Yeah. Well, let's give them a little taste of what this record sounds like, and we'll start with track 1, and this is "Baby Don't Give Me Those Blues."
start. You're gonna wreck my heart. I can't stop what you do. Baby, don't give me those blues. High heels and tattoos. Don't give me no bad news. I'll take the rhythm. Baby, don't give me those
What do you guys want to tell us about this particular track?
This was one of Matt's songs that he wrote.
Yeah, this is one I actually played at the singer-songwriter night. The form changed slightly once we got the full band together, and which when we can really highlight Chase's piano playing on it. But this song is kind of unique for me on this album because it kind of is. It has a slightly different feel than some of the other contributions I've made on this record. So it's a little more standard rock song, and it was a lot of fun to play. I mean, it's a lot of fun to play this song, and I don't know. I love it. I love the whole thing.
Matt's got a really soft, sweet voice, and if you listen towards the later of the choruses, he gets a little rough. It's hot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the Sidecar debut album, Dinner and a Box of Wine, due out. Is available everywhere on the same day as the party?
So it'll actually be live April 1st.
Okay.
So give everybody a week to warm up to it. And then you can pick up CDs at the day of the show. We also have like USB thumb drives that have some photos and stuff, but have mixes on there. And then if you catch a show between now and then, one of our duo shows, we'll have some CDs with us too.
Yeah. Well, we got a big party on April 8th. And this will be the official album release party, and that'll be at Central Stage in the Grand Center area. You can come on out and have a great time, and again, pick up a copy of the record. And along with Sidecar, we're bringing along some good friends in Prarie Rehab and Bobby Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
And you said you were just telling me there might be a lot more music being released that night.
Yes, we've talked with Bobby and Scott Schwartz of Prarie Rehab. We've been kind of the main contacts, and as we've been planning shows and getting promo materials together, Bobby, once he confirmed, he was like, I'm also like digitally releasing an album on the 7th. And then just a couple days ago, Scott was like, I think we're also going to be releasing our record that either like right before or just after the show. So essentially we're treating this as a triple album release party.
Yeah, that's going to be cool, man. I'm, it's just fun to see my friends working together and making all kinds of cool stuff happen and stuff. So yeah, this is going to be a fun night to celebrate a lot of great St. Louis music happening. So
we're very excited.
Yeah,
you can purchase tickets at metrotix.com right now, and come on out.
It's $10 for the show, and that includes a digital download.
Yeah, $10 in advance, and then 15 day of, and then basically we'll have these cards that are the album cover, and then on the back is a QR code to take you straight to Bandcamp, and we'll have a little free download code, and you can just pick those up at the show. You can buy a physical copy of the CDs, but if CDs aren't your thing, there's a free download code for Bandcamp, and then we're on like Apple Music and
Spotify.
Yeah, we use DistroKid, which nowadays the list of like platforms are, I don't even know half of the hell of these things, but we're everywhere.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if like some of those more international ones or something, because there's a lot of them I've never even heard of, and some like they must be somewhere, else that we're not really like familiar with or something, I would guess.
I probably should research it, being kind of the main person who does that stuff. But
it's the same thing like with the podcast. Like I post in one place and it goes to hundreds of different, pod apps. So it's like, wherever you can listen to wherever. If you should be able to find it on one of your platforms. So.
Right, yeah.
All right, let's talk about since we're hanging out, and this is always some of my favorite stuff. I love doing some live acoustic stuff, and this is kind of pretty close to what it sounded like that night at that songwriter showcase we were talking about. But Matt played a song, another one of his songs called Sangamon, which appears on the record. Which I guess it's not too far off on the record. There's a little bit more to it, but you kept it pretty close to the stripped down kind of acoustic. But I love this song. I think it's some of my favorite style stuff, like the storytelling. I love and these lyrics, definitely paint a picture, man. It's just, it's also really some of my favorite stuff too. Is really pretty sounding, but if you listen to the lyrics, there's a little more darkness to some of that. So,
well, thank you for your kind words.
Yeah,
that song we intentionally left it sparse. We thought it would sound best, kind of without too much done to it. So we were really specific on what we added. We had, Scotty does a little bit of.
He does a shaker. Like the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3 minutes straight of shaker.
And Simons does a bass, just some pretty basic bass notes to really help accentuate the chord changes. And we don't have any piano on it. And the harmonies, of course, are add a nice element. But yeah, the Sangamon is a river that runs through central Illinois. And when I was growing up, you'd hear stories all the time of people that passed away in the river, or there was a tale from back when I was a kid about this basketball star that went into, his name was Kevin Washington. He jumped in to save a kid who had fallen in the river, and he ended up drowning. And there's all these. It's almost become I don't know, not an urban legend, but the river is just iconic,
mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to write something that kind of reminded me of my hometown, but it took the song took its own path when I was writing it, and it kind of became a murder ballad type of thing. So, but.
My only love in Illinois, I found her in the arms of another boy, and it hurts me still to say, son, I buried her in the Sangamon. I left my only love in Illinois. There's one thing I know, I ain't never coming home. Good Lord, He can't change what I've done. All of these bad dreams are coming back to me when I lay my head down to sleep. My life on the run, hiding from the police and the gun. I've been up to Maine and back again, down to Arkansas and Michigan. Now I live my life on the run. There's one thing I know, I ain't never coming home. The good Lord, He can't change what I've done. All All of these bad dreams coming back to me when I lay my head down to sleep. There's one thing I know, I ain't never coming home. The good Lord, He can't change what I've done. All of these bad dreams are coming back to me when I lay my head down to sleep. When I lay my head down to sleep. When I lay my head down to sleep.
Yeah, it sounds pretty, but the lyrics are dark
Yeah, right.
for sure. So.
I've used the line a lot, but I love the line in Robin Hood Men in Tights when he's like, "Could you just tell us the bad news in a good way?" It's just like, I always think about that. Like, just like you're singing some pretty messed up stuff, but it's in real pretty sounding. So it's,
Yeah, I can't sound too mean. I don't have a choice in that matter. So
right.
I'll just I'll write pretty songs and that's about it.
Yeah, but this it sounded great today. We did, like I said, with this a live version we did, just hanging out here at the house. And but yeah, man, the harmonies are tight, man. You guys have definitely got that down tight now. So it's it sounds really good. And
It's all Phil on that one.
yeah,
Straight melody here.
yeah,
Yeah, we when we set out to like pick the songs for the album, we have a bunch of songs between us, probably like 16 altogether maybe, but we only have so much money and so much time to do it in the record or in the studio. And when we were deciding what songs were going to be what, I was like, okay, we have to pick like 6 or 7, and then Sangamon has to be in there. Like I was adamant on it, just because exactly the same reason you guys said. It's a beautiful song. Once I figured out how to harmonize with Matt in the right way, we've been kind of sticking to that formula. And sometimes it's hard to play that song in a loud bar, you know what I mean? Because it's so intimate. But when you play it in a quiet moment when people are listening, like we'll play at the Rendezvous Cafe sometimes where there's in O'Fallon, and that's where people are really listening. If you can get an audience that are really listening to the song and the lyrics and everything about it, that's an easy win, because that song is just, this dude's a genius. I don't know.
all right, yeah, man. Yeah, I remember the first night hearing, and I was impressed then, and so it's just like I said, the start of the show, I love that that now it's finally placed on a record and gonna live forever, and so now we get to share it with everyone. But yeah, great song, and again appears on Dinner and a Box of Wine, due out on April 1st. So
Yeah, April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Ain't no joke.
Well, let's talk about one more. This is a Phil song, right? Old 44.
Old 44 is a me song.
Yeah, this is another kind of upbeat, a little more rock and roll in there and stuff, and some blues and influences coming through in there. So got quite a bit different than the Sangamon. So, but let's talk about this song, man.
So yeah, it's super blues influenced. I think it came to light. I was running an open mic at Irish Corner Pub way back when. That's kind of where the song had kind of been born a little bit in my head. And sometimes you got to write a song with like an intention in mind, and for some reason I was like, I want to write a song that kind of changes that feel. Like, there's kind of an upbeat feel, kind of faster pace, kind of driving on the highway is what the lyrics are telling you, and it kind of sells that a little bit. Then in the story of the song, you kind of get drunk and lose your way, and you kind of drive a little bit slower. And it's also an homage to just the Highway 44, that cuts through St. Louis and a lot of potholes. But I set out to write that song that had that feel change in there. And that was really the main premise of it. And some lyric homages, like my favorite line of that is where it's talking about the flowers, the different kinds of flowers. Kind of a little like Prince-like lyric is what I feel like that came from. But yeah, my other favorite part of that song is, again, we're because I played that acoustically for a long time. I feel like I had harmonica on it for a minute. And when we started to really dress it up a little bit, Simon's bass parts kind of took over what I played on the acoustic guitar, and then we add Matt's finger picking. I was kind of like, what the hell am I supposed to play now? Those are all the parts I've covered. So adding electric and just adding a little bit of a more, to the arrangement, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
And Sam had our producer Sam, when we were kind of recording that day, we were like, okay, what should be our single? And I was super flattered and very honored that the room was like, Old 44 should be the first single. I was like, oh shit, okay. Because most of the songs are Matt's, I feel like most of my contribution is more like on the arranging side as opposed to like the composition side. So I just feel honored that was our first one that we released.
Yeah.
Type of girl, she may make or break my world. That honey is a little sweet and sour. I'm always bringing flowers to your door, only the kind that you adore. Roses, orchids, carnations for your affections. That flower is full of thorn, I cannot afford spending my time on reason and rhyme. Ain't got no alibi for why I ain't arrived. Driving slow on old 44. Lost my way when I asked for one more. The whiskey whispered, soft and sweet. Oh, I've never felt more complete without my honey, sweet or sour. The petals fell as I picked up the flower. Got my glass half full like my whiskey needs. Got me buzz, buzz, buzzing like your honey bee. From waiting no more. She's the type of girl, well, she made my world. That honey is a flower, I'm her honeybee.
It's funny when you get in the studio and start recording some stuff, and then you go back and listen to it. You don't really know. You listen to the album a couple times and try to think about the songs. Do you need to make any changes to them, and this, that, or the other? And that one was like a hidden gem for me. I'd known of the song for a long time because I'd heard him play it way back when at Irish Corner Pub and stuff like that. But after we recorded it, it was like, that's one of my favorite songs on the album. And I didn't expect it. It's just like kind of, you know it so well, it just kind of, you forget about it sometimes, I think. So I was glad we chose it for our first single, because when we were going through and listening to it, I was like, that's a really good song, so we want to make sure we put our good stuff out to the public first, So
yeah, man. Well, I dig it, man. This whole record really sounds great, and I like just those two songs alone, you get in both ends of the spectrum kind of thing. Like you're getting a lot of different feels kind of coming through, different influences from both of you guys over the years. I love having two songwriters, hearing different voices coming through on different songs, and even though you guys do harmonize a lot between each other's music and stuff, but hearing even your voice as a songwriter and stuff coming through on different songs. So it's just nice to have a lot of variety in these 8 tracks.
Yeah,
I think it plays to our influences, and as we've said on other podcasts, we met at an open mic. Matt played a bunch of Oasis, and I was like, oh my God, I love Oasis. And we just would play a bunch of Oasis, but that's a band with 2 songwriters.
Two singers sometimes.
Two singers, and sometimes it's hard to discern the voice of who's who. And Matt and I both love the Beatles a lot.
Right.
Where, I'm kind of the sad boy. I'm definitely an inner Lennon, but I want to be Paul. And Matt's more of a Paul personality, but he wants to be Lennon. Because he writes a lot of sad songs. But anyway, I think it just plays to how we blend together as our own band. Looking back at all the bands that we love, I think it really shows.
Yeah.
And I think it helps an audience kind of get a different flavor, because he sings in a way that is rougher, more rock sounding. I can't do that. I can't pull that off.
Except on Baby Don't Give Me Those Blues. There's that gravel in there, buddy.
There's a growl. One growl, that's all you get. So I'm a little bit softer, coffee shop style than described. So it's good to have the yin and the yang going on.
Yeah,
the audience can stay interested for a 3-hour set, which we typically do.
But I don't know. I just like stuff like Morning Bird and hearing some of these different pretty harmonies and everything, those kind of things. There's not a lot of people that can do that, and there's 2 is you just definitely don't hear a lot of it today. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's kind of fun about this record, is kind of it is a little tip of the cap to some of those that did it before us, and it's it feels like some of those old records that we, going talking about Ragtime and different influences and stuff coming through, and so I don't know, man. It's something unique for sure about this record. There's a lot of, different things coming through as far as I said, influences and writing and everything. But I really like it a lot, and I'm excited for everybody else to give it a listen. So
us too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
Well, we should probably note Dinner and a Box of Wine comes from a song, The Reaper. It's a lyric in there. One of my favorites that you also did at that songwriter showcase, and but this line always kind of stuck out because it just kind of makes me laugh. That I think about, I start picturing the devil drinking a box of Franzia wine or something. It's
slapping the bag.
Yeah, it's so just that's where my mind starts going. I start wandering around and start thinking of silly things like that. But
even we were coming up with the name, and we have a really good partnership. I love working with Matt. Both voices can be heard. We're just always that Topo Chico opening. Oh yeah,
Topo Chico.
Proud sponsor of Rock River
Pie. We were. Just like when we were forming names, we're just kind of spitballing. We're kind of going back and forth over text and whatnot. And it doesn't really come through, and I think in our playing, but I really love Jack White and all the projects that he does. And he has these writings released where it's almost just like rambling, but it's different, just like bits of lyrics and song titles and all this stuff. And when I was like, okay, we got to name the record, I was like, I just put it out there. I was like, I think it would be a really cool idea to take just a really cool lyric from any song, whichever one on the record, and let's highlight that. It's not the name of a song, and like you said, it's just a line. And in the Reaper, it's kind of more of a fast pace. The lyrics are faster, right? So I think it's fun to. I was very flattered that we picked that line out of it, and I think you say it best about dinner and a box of wine about like our product.
Yeah, I mean, we don't take ourselves too serious, so you're not getting a bottle of wine.
Right.
You're getting a box of wine.
Yeah. So again, April 8th is the release party. Tickets available, metrotix.com, Prarie Rehab, Bobby Stevens, and Sidecar. And again, you can find it digitally everywhere on April 1st. But along with all the new music, I mean, are you guys maybe thinking anything else to go along with, like maybe music videos or anything like? Is any of that kind of stuff been in the works or in talks? Picking a song to focus on or anything like that?
We've definitely wanted to do videos. We've had countless ideas over the years. Matt has a lot of songs that are about naps, so we actually have a video trilogy in our brains. Once we get album number 2 out, I think we can videography that trilogy together. But honestly, the Sangamon has been one that I've wanted to like make a video too. We've kind of talked about like not so much like a video where there's like a band playing, but it's just kind of like a storytelling video. Sangamon's not that far of a drive, so
yeah, we've got a little bit of studio footage. Our buddy came and shot some footage of us in the studio, so we've got some stuff we could piece together if we wanted to do that style of a video too. We did the Christmas video.
Is that 2 years?
2 years ago when we did Alpha Brewing put out a Christmas album.
Topo Chico.
So we did Please Pass the Eggnog.
Yeah.
We did a video for that one, which was a lot of fun to do.
That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Was that the first time official Sidecar recording on a record then?
Yeah, actually.
I think so.
I got it right here.
Is that Alpha?
We did release kind of a demo version of Lazy Days that we recorded in Scotty's
studio,
garage. Yeah.
So on our Spotify and Bandcamp, we have like Lazy Days demo. I guess we'll have to rename that one because that one had like me on the keyboard and we all self-produced that. And then during COVID, I released one of my songs, which I don't know if I played it at the songwriter night. It was called Josie Ann.
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did either. It'll be on Sidecar's second record, but there's a bit of a demo that basically I did all the vocal parts, the guitar parts, the bass part, and then Scotty remotely recorded it because it was in 2020. So, but yeah, the Christmas song, Alpha Brewing Company produced a Christmas album that has Joe Metzga on it, Pete Williams, Dave Black, Josh Eaker of Just Joshin' Around, Chris Parrish, Joe Mancuso, just all of us. And it was recorded by David Toretta, who's like amazing. He recorded Chuck Berry and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it was produced by Joe Mancuso. But basically we took a bunch of songs that were, what's that called? Public domain. So we didn't have to pay any royalties for it. And then we wrote an original, and I think Josh wrote an original too, which is really fun.
There's even a beep in there.
Yeah.
He cussed in a Christmas song, so they beeped him.
And it was intentional. I asked him later. He was like, no, I wanted that to be in there because it like makes you laugh. Yeah. But that was a weirdly political time. So Matt wrote a blues, and then my 2 cents is typically on the arranging side. So I was like, okay, let's do the old classic thing. We're going to start in D. Second, we're going to go up to D flat or E flat. And then second one, we're going to go to E. And it's just a blues that keeps changing keys like that. That was a fun time though.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about one more we did live acoustic today, and this is a cover song that we did. Kind of your spin on it.
We like to folk things up.
Yeah. And this is Best Friend's Girl. My Best Friend's Girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cars.
Yeah.
Yep.
And obviously, it's been one that's been around forever, but it's kind of cool hearing your guys' take on it, hearing some harmonies and stripped down acoustic guitars, and but this was cool, man.
Yeah, one of our favorite things to do is to kind of rearrange a popular song and make it our own, especially if you can kind of pull it into a different genre. It makes it a little more interesting. So obviously that's a pretty standard pop song, and we kind of made it a little folky. But it's, of all the songs we do live, that one always goes over really well. Yeah. So we like to play it a lot because it gets such a good response from the crowd generally. So
I'll give away our secret. Typically we play it like first or second or third, so that when the crowd flips over in a 3-hour gig, we can play it again, like try towards the end.
Yeah.
Because it just goes over so well. People, honestly, when we start playing it, you can kind of see like the brow turn a little bit. They're like, do I know this song?
Yeah.
It's familiar, but it's not familiar because it's, we're playing it in such like a folky beat.
Yeah. I do like that. Like when I'm out at a bar, like in that situation, and like where it's like, it catches your ear enough, where you're like, wait a second. And you're listening, and then it hits that chorus, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. I know what this is like. But it's just different enough to where it's like you're not quite picking up on the verse lyrics until that chorus sing along comes in and stuff. And it's like, but yeah, man, it's like that's always a kind of a. I mean, I like when artists are able to do that, to make their own rendition, flip it and where it's something almost unrecognizable, except the lyrics are all the same, but it's something completely different than what we all know as the song. So, but yeah, it's fun, man. It's a good tune.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's one of my. He starts to play it sometimes, and sometimes if I'm on a break on our shows, he'll kind of play something, and I'll kind of hop in and just add some harmonies or whatever. And I really don't remember how it started, but I just was messing around one day, and if you're a music nerd that's listening, you can hear there's a lot of like. It's a counter melody, some counterpoint stuff going on where I'm kind of almost playing like a bass line riff or just a different kind of finger picking stuff. And it meshes really well, I think, with the finger picking style he's got going on, finger picking I'm doing. It just blends really well together.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dancing in the street with your suede blue eyes. Every new boy that she meets doesn't know the real surprise. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. And I like the way she dips. She's my best friend's girl. She's my best friend's girl. And she used to be mine. Got your nuclear boots and your drip dry gloves. When she bites her lip, it's some reaction to love. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. And I like the way she dips. She's my best friend's girl. She's my best friend's girl. And she used to be mine. Dancing in the street with suede blue eyes. Every new boy that she meets doesn't know the real surprise. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. There she goes again, dancing neath the starry skies. And I like the way she dips. She's my best friend's girl. She's my best friend's girl. And she used to be mine. Oh, mine, 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 mine,
mine. So I guess for the party, are you guys have you guys talked about, like, are you playing the record through, or are we putting some old favorites in there too? And what have you guys talked about? Kind of what you're expecting to do on the party?
Yeah, we've got our set list mapped out. We're gonna do we're gonna mix up the album tracks a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna flavor in a couple songs that aren't featured on this album, but they're originals of ours. Maybe we'll put on an upcoming album, or maybe we won't. Some of them are a little older. But yeah, so you'll get a lot of Sidecar and some stuff you're only going to hear at the show. So it's going to be a good time for sure.
Yeah. I guess. Now, is there any I kind of talked about the music video stuff. Is there more you want to do with it? Like, I know touring kind of might be difficult right now, being a new dad and things. But would you guys like to do something like that? Like just trying to expand with these songs, like maybe getting some weekends or anything like that out and spreading the word, or is pretty much focusing on just having a product available here for St. Louis to share?
I think we're definitely trying to get more of our foot into just being available for, with playlists and other things like that, to just get the music out a little bit.
Right.
I know one of our main goals since we set out to do Sidecar is to have, we can be an opening band, or we can be on one of those like original band bills. I think that's one of our main goals. Mm-hmm. But just trying to get the product out there, trying to get the sound out there. It's a vast sea of music out there right now. So doing what we can to kind of get in there.
Yeah.
I think, when I see our friends out there opening for national acts, I just love it.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. And actually, Bobby Stevens was opening up for a guy a couple months ago, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're opening up for that guy. I forget the name of the guy, and I was at the old rock house. His name escapes me, but I had been listening to him all summer long last summer, and I was like, you're getting to open for him? And then who was the guy that
Drew
yeah.
Who was that guy?
The British guy that I used to listen to him all the time too.
And it was like just Drew and Chris
Nick
Powers.
something.
Yeah.
Cave.
Something
I
like
forget
that.
that. Now I'm embarrassing myself. So.
I think that's definitely a goal of ours, is if we can somehow, get onto a bill somewhere. And again, that's just with releasing the record and, talent buyers and whoever listening and saying like, oh, that band's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's probably difficult to get those kind of spots, being the Hitchcock and the Hitman, being the cover stuff, but having an original product and being like, hey, we also do this, and we have so those opportunities could be a lot of fun to get out there and showcase in front of some of that national talent and stuff coming through. I mean, what's cool about St. Louis, man, right now we got a lot of things happening as far as venues and festivals popping up and all kinds of things. So you guys would definitely, I feel, would fit in a lot of these spots and stuff. So it'd be cool to see getting some of that national exposure and stuff in front of a bigger audience and
festivals and again those opening spots. That's what we're after. So if you're listening, hit us up.
Yeah,
we're reliable. And we got our roots here. We're kind of stuck for a while.
And I think next steps for us is also, the songs that didn't make it on this first record have a place on a second record, and we've still got some other songs, some unfinished ideas that have been cool that just didn't make the cut this time around. So we definitely have enough. Excuse you, Florence. We definitely have enough content for a second record.
I also kind of appreciate that you guys, kept it kind of short and sweet. Like, this is a nice little showcase of what we can do. I was just kind of talking about Morgan Wallen released a record with 36 tracks on it on his new record, and
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we intentionally kept it short for two reasons. One, we only had so much studio time booked.
So much money.
Yeah. And two, I mean, the people's attention spans just aren't what they used to be, and you put out an album, I don't know if anyone's going to listen to it all the way through twice. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But a lot of playlists are important, just getting on a playlist. So you don't need to put out a 32-song album unless you're really ambitious and that's really what you want to do. I mean,
I just feel like all these songs deserve attention on this album. They're all great, and they all deserve a play. But that's the thing. It's like, if you put out something like that, it's just like there's so many that can just get lost in the mix. It's like
right.
I mean, obviously he's a huge deal now, and people love what he's doing. But it's like, but at the same time, who's got time to sit and listen to 36 songs, on regular like that? But I just feel like it's nice to have hey, we're focusing on these couple right now. There's a nice little package, and then we always got room for another one, so it's like, keep that, we don't need to flood it and stuff. So
I think the record itself, ours goes to how we are as listeners, like Matt and I. Of course, we have our playlists and we'll play stuff on random and just shuffle it around, but typically I listen to an album straight through, or if we'll play in Illinois a bunch, that's I'm going to put on this record and probably get through 2 albums on this drive. Sure. And the songs and the flow of the album, it's all really intentional. So hopefully if people's first couple listens is in a row like that, because we kind of set out, it doesn't really, I wouldn't say it tells a story, but it definitely has a intentional flow to it.
Yeah, there's an art to that, that gets missed these days in playlists, because unless the person constructing the playlist is doing the same thing. But whenever you're listening to the music, you need a release from a lot of hard driven songs, something a little quieter or something like that, and back when people were listening to vinyl, there was so much attention paid to where the song sat on the actual record itself,
right,
because of the fidelity of it and how it all plays
side A to side B, where that flip happens. Yeah.
So it's, that's kind of something that people don't really need to think about anymore. But we love listening to the album straight through. So it's something that we're we just naturally think about.
Yeah, with his new dadship, we've been having boys' nights.
Boys'
So
nights.
We'll have some bourbon and bring our favorite records over. It's like show and tell. And
There you go.
It's fun. Play some cards.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. But when you play Sangamon over in Illinois, are you getting like a pretty nice response? Are people telling you their Sangamon story or anything like that?
No one's come up and said anything about it yet.
Yeah.
When
They
we
probably
play in
don't wanna-
Illinois, we don't get up far enough north, I think,
Yeah.
for people to...
they don't want to out themselves as murdering their girlfriend in the river.
Yeah.
Hey man, I did that one day.
Yeah. Buried my girlfriend in the Sangamon.
Yeah.
Yeah, these Illinois boys have talent, man.
Yeah.
This one's from Springfield, so
Yeah.
you just throw them in the pile of talented Illinois people.
Yeah.
We got nothing else to do in Illinois
Yeah.
except for run away.
I just that's again, it's cool to hear that people, I know you guys now you have that opportunity to put these songs out there. People can start applying their own life and stories to what I've been something similar to that, or hopefully it's not that track, but hopefully hopefully some other ones. People are like, hey man, that song means a lot to me, and like I just think that's when I really I kind of just had that moment. I got to sit down with Dana Michael Anderson on the show the other day, and I got to let him know like what some of his songs mean to me, and he's like, and he's talking about what that meant to him, and I was just like, it's cool that we have this time, where people can reach out to some of their favorite songwriters and actually talk to them, and whether it's through Twitter or through a podcast or whatever, it might be, but how we are so connected. Even if these people you never met before, but you have an opportunity to tell them, hey, like, I really like this one or whatever it is. So
I feel like that's a cool thing about St. Louis / Illinois, or just kind of this general area. And even like out west, out here in St. Charles and Wentzville and all that stuff, there's a lot of people out there that, they're playing covers at their shows, but they're playing original songs. And there's a lot of songwriters out here. I mean, the open mics are far and wide, and there's just people with songs to sing and stories to tell, and it's also really nice that there's a lot of people who enjoy that singer-songwriter style of playing, especially in the Midwest. I don't know what that is about our city, but I feel like there's just the audience for it is here for sure.
Yeah. Matt, do you find obviously you probably have zero sleep or free time and everything, but do you find, are you being inspired yet to play some new songs or write some new songs yet, or being dead, or is that still to come?
It's still to come. I don't quite have the bandwidth for writing right now. Plus, for me, writing, I have to be kind of by myself and be in my own headspace for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't have a whole lot of that right now. I used to get up early before work and do some writing, come up with ideas, and maybe record it, and then come home and try to work on it, but that's okay. All on time. I mean, I'll get back to it eventually, but then I'll have an even deeper well to draw from, hopefully, after having a baby and all that. But
does she like your playing?
I don't think so, because she cries every time I pick up a guitar, so I don't have much time to practice either. She wants me to hold her, not the guitar. So.
Yeah.
But she did all right. She made a debut at Rendezvous Cafe at a Hitman gig, and she did great.
I think we might have some 3-part harmonies on some of these live recordings we did today. So
you can hear her on the Sangamon if you listen closely.
So maybe we got a little singer in the works. Maybe she's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
But no, man, I'm like I said earlier, it's just really cool to see, and I'm real happy for you and your wife Jessica.
Thank you.
So another friend of the show.
Yeah, she was featured on it.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yep.
She had her own episode.
So I'm just makes me really happy. I'm glad to see you two getting to be parents, and I'm excited to see what songs maybe come from. But that's the thing. I think like it's kind of cool about what you guys do. Again, with the harmonies and things, it's almost like some of the stuff is almost lullaby. Like so it's like it wouldn't be that far off to maybe we'll have a
children's album.
Maybe we'll have a children's album. sidecar lullabies and stuff, something like that. But I don't know. I just think I think it was Jim Brewer did a whole bit about like all these rock guys becoming dads and older and stuff now, and it was like something Metallica doing bingo or something, and like Ozzy Osbourne singing London Bridges or something, so he does like all of his musical impressions, and he sings all these like children's songs, and awesome. And it's pretty solid. But yeah, he's like but then the kicker of the joke is AC/DC doing the hokey pokey, and he's like so it's pretty hilarious watching him act it all out and doing these voices and stuff. And
my favorite children's book is probably the Go the Beep to Sleep by I think Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We have that one in our library. Yeah. I was crying when I was reading it. It was so funny.
It's a family favorite.
Yeah.
Please go to sleep.
Yeah. Well, very cool, guys. This has been a ton of fun. Always love getting to spend some time with you guys. And so, yeah, I'm really I'm stoked on the record. I'm excited for everybody to give it a spin. And again, coming soon to your streaming platform. Pick up a physical copy on CD on April 8th at the Central Stage in St. Louis, Missouri, in Grand Center area, just a couple of steps from the Fox Theater down there and everything. It's a beautiful space, and it's going to be a fun night with a bunch of great original music, again, from Sidecar, Prarie Rehab, and Bobby Stevens.
The triple album release show.
Yeah. And you can visit metrotix.com today for your ticket. And don't miss out. It's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.